Dear brothers and sisters, many of us question the end of our existence, and sometimes faith wavers in the face of the thought of death. However, as Christians, we should have no doubts about the certainty of life after death. This certainty comes to us first and foremost from Jesus Christ, from his resurrection and his appearances to the disciples. The apparitions, described in detail in the Gospels, represent tangible proof of life after death, witnessing the truth of Jesus' promise. Throughout the history of the Church, numerous mystics have had spiritual experiences that have led them to see purgatory and the kingdom of heaven. Among these mystics, we cannot fail to remember St. Teresa of Avila and St. John of the Cross. However, perhaps more than anyone else, it is the experiences of Padre Pio that give us confirmation of life after death. Padre Pio had numerous visions of heaven, hell and purgatory, and communicated with the deceased through apparitions and visions. He also possessed the ability to know the time of death of each person. A significant episode occurred on January 20th, 1936, when, in the presence of Dr. Sanguinetti and Father Aurelio, Padre Pio suddenly knelt down and urged them to pray for the King of England, who would soon die. The next day, the radio and newspapers announced the death of George V. Many testimonies from people who knew Padre Pio attest to events that seem impossible to explain except by faith. For example, Rosaria Balacco recounted that she had confided in Padre Pio her fear of losing her mother and being left alone. Padre Pio told her to be calm because her mother would live a long time. In fact, Rosaria's mother died at the age of 96, 30 years after that conversation. Padre Pio seemed to know the fate of everyone. Father Romolo, a contemporary of Padre Pio, asked him who would die first between the two of them. Padre Pio replied with certainty that they would both live long lives, but that he would die first. And so it happened. Padre Pio died in 1968 at the age of 81, while Father Romolo died at the age of 95 in 1981. Padre Pio not only knew the fate of people, but also offered comfort about death. A faithful man, whom Padre Pio told would die within a week, found serenity in these words, knowing that the saint would accompany him in this passage. His death was experienced with serenity by his loved ones, convinced that Padre Pio would guide him to the kingdom of heaven. Numerous testimonies affirm that Padre Pio was in contact with the deceased and knew their condition. To his spiritual daughter Cleonice Morcaldi, Padre Pio explained that it is not God who sends souls to hell, but that they choose to go there as a consequence of their sins. Another story told by Father Paolino concerns a monk, Pietro di Mauro, who appeared to Padre Pio asking him to celebrate a Mass to free him from purgatory. The story was confirmed by the registry office records, which attested to the monk's death in 1908. According to Christian mystics, the moment of death is an extraordinary and sacred passage. St. Teresa of Avila describes the soul as a traveller who, having left the body, is enveloped in divine light and guided towards a path of purification or beatitude. St. John of the Cross speaks of the dark night as a process in which the soul frees itself of its imperfections before entering into full communion with God. Padre Pio, in his visions, described the moment of death as an instantaneous revelation of divine truth. Souls see their whole life in an instant and understand their mistakes and sins. This moment of awareness is accompanied by the presence of angels and, for the righteous, the beatific vision of Christ and the saints. The mystics also emphasize the importance of prayers and masses for the souls in purgatory. Padre Pio celebrated masses for the deceased, firmly believing that these had the power to alleviate the sufferings of the souls and hasten their entry into paradise. His experiences confirm the tradition of the Church, according to which the prayers of the living can positively influence the fate of souls in the afterlife. Dear brothers and sisters, these testimonies demonstrate how death is only a passage and offer us courage, confirming that we need not fear the end of our earthly life. Instead, we should be concerned about how we live, following the example of faith and charity of Christ. What do you think about the message of life after death? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our new videos.